What's up, everybody? I'm Kris Risner, and I'm a freelance digital designer. This is episode 9 of Design Quickies, and today we're going to be talking about banner blindness. We're going to talk about what it is, why it's important, and what you should do instead of using a banner. The term banner blindness was originally coined in 1998, and it was originally talking about the web ads that you see on a lot of news sites. Since then, it's kind of changed a little bit, and usually it's referring to web sliders. Banner blindness is a learned behavior from years of dodging ads on websites. Now we have ad blocker, but before ad blocker, we just ignored them. And people tend to ignore ads or anything that looks like ads because they don't want to be sold to constantly. Users learn to ignore 3 different elements on websites. So if it was ad-specific placement, like posting something at the very top of the page or in the right sidebar, users tended to ignore those elements. If it had an ad-like visual treatment, such as animation or just very white generic-looking images, users would also ignore that. And then if there was a proximity to an actual ad or promotion, maybe you had a section of text directly underneath an ad, users would probably ignore that also. At this point, you're probably wondering why I'm talking about web ads, because honestly, a lot of people don't use ads anymore on their websites. The only sites that really use ads are news sites, or maybe, YouTube has a few. But this behavior is already ingrained into your user's mind, and even if you don't use ads on your website, you might have a banner or slider at the top, and users will ignore that just like they ignore a web ad. A lot of e-commerce websites use a slider because they're able to show off a bunch of different products, but that slider is usually at the top of the page, and it's got movement. So that's 2 of the elements that users are used to ignoring from web ads. Even though the research shows that users are just jumping over the web slider, businesses still use it. And a lot of it is because they have a traditional sense of web design. They don't know how to get away from that basic web slider. They're used to seeing it. They're used to seeing it on other sites. Maybe Walmart's using it, so why shouldn't they? And as a web designer, you kind of need to present this research to your client and give them some options away from a web slider. Businesses don't actually understand what they want with web design. They just have an idea of what they think will get the most conversions. But if you can show them research that shows that web sliders aren't working, and you can come up with ideas that will convert more users, you're doing a much better job. Usually a web slider is taking up the top 25% of your website, and that's a lot of real estate to be losing to something that's probably just going to get skipped over. So what can you do instead? Instead of using a web slider, there's a few different options. One, you could try doing a static image. That's what I do on my website for my personal portfolio. I use a full-size image of a piece of my work. And I also use a tasteful animation to help liven it up. If you can, you should really try to use video. We're seeing more and more that video is such a powerful medium. YouTube is one of the biggest social media platforms because it's video. Instagram and Facebook are both trying to get into video because video does better. If you post a video to social media, you're going to get more engagement versus just a text post or an image post. And it's the same thing for websites. If you're using a video at the top of your page, it doesn't have to be anything complicated, but it's a good way to get people interested in your product. One option would be to do a 15-second glamour roll of your product that just stays on loop, and that would really get people interested and help convert more users. A lot of the trendier e-commerce sites, such as Nike, are actually doing a really good job staying away from web banners. And if you're looking for inspiration, looking for a trendy e-commerce site is probably your best bet. If you enjoyed this video, go ahead and like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next week.